1 year ago, here at Code for America Summit, a friend of mine named Jed Sunwall stood on stage, and he declared the tweet the document of the 21st century. Well, as we reflect on this past year of government social media usage, we can see how his statement bears truth. For example, in Philadelphia, we've seen how government communication over sites like Facebook, Pinterest, and YouTube have now helped the police solve more than 200 crimes. And we've seen places like Kansas City following the lead of San Francisco and equipping their city's 311 help center with the reach and convenience of social media. And it's from these kinds of examples that it becomes clear. The millions of tweets, photos, and comments shared across government social media sites are more than just internet musings. These are the documents of the 21st century, and they're important government documents. The question is, what's happening to these documents over time? We all know that social media is about the here and now, but can we still get to this information a year from now? And what about 10 years from now? And what happens if someone, whether that's a government employee or a citizen, simply clicks delete on their side of the conversation? Well, whether information is being deleted or it's just too far in the past for us to get to, we are losing access to these documents each and every day, and we cannot let that continue to happen. Now, I'm not just saying that philosophically, I mean legally. In 1966, the Freedom of Information Act was put into effect, or really passed and put into effect a year later, to ensure that government documents are retained and made available when requested. As we heard from David earlier on this morning, it was foundational for open government. It led to the creation of open records laws across our 50 states and across many countries in the world. And now, nearly 5 decades later, we still have an obligation to preserve our government documents, even if they are of the 21st century kind. The problem is that it's hard to do. Social media is dynamic. It's being broadcast from a variety of mobile computing devices. And the data ultimately resides on third-party servers completely outside of government IT control. So while social media is a form of open government for today, the challenge of retaining social media means that it's a nightmare for open records in the long run. So much so that we're still seeing public agencies refrain from creating a presence on social networks due to what we call the record retention roadblock. After all, this is a legal mandate, and there is significant legal risk when not having these records. But even still, we're at Code for America, so many cities and counties have moved forward with some kind of presence on social media, but they are holding back. If you've ever heard the phrase, one-way social media, then you know exactly what I mean. So it's an unfortunate paradox. Open records laws are stifling open government. But it's not that open records laws are bad, it's just that they were a lot easier to apply when documents were on paper and when they were transferred by hand. I'm Anil, I'm the founder and CEO of Archive Social, and as we often see here at Code for America, this is a government technology issue ripe for disruption. And here's how we can solve it. It starts with providing software that's actually easy to use and afford. When Joe Carter from Grant County, Washington reached out to us, he said, I have 3 departments across the county that want to engage citizens on Facebook, but we cannot go live until we have archiving in place. It took Joe 3 days to procure Archive Social and less than 1 hour to clear his record retention roadblock. It requires trust and dependability. After all, these are government documents, and like other government documents, social media is finding its way to court. That's why Archive Social pioneered what we call 100% authentic capture, which is essentially technology to ensure that every tweet, comment, and image on your social media sites can serve as legal evidence if need be. And finally, the archive has to be useful for open records and beyond. After all, an archive of social media is more than just data. This is the historical dialogue between you and your citizens. Now, when it comes to open records, it's a lot easier to respond to them when you have features like instant search and real-time filtering, and when you have an interactive interface that recreates your social media, allowing you to expand conversation threads, view high-resolution photos, and play videos. But if you really want to get a sense of what it's like for a government to preserve its 21st century documents, then I encourage you to take a look at one of the many open archives that we've launched around the country. In fact, the city of Austin, who's here with us today, was the first city in the world to launch an open, searchable, interactive archive for any person on the planet to access, and you can actually try it yourselves. When I reached out to Doug Matthews at the city about the archive, here's what he told me. He said, it's not just about open data. It is a commitment to openness across the board. In other words, rather than allowing open records laws to stifle open government, let's ensure they keep fulfilling it. So in closing, I have an opportunity for you. If you're worried about losing your 21st century documents, if you find that open records laws are getting in your way, or if you're simply inspired by what Doug had to say, then tweet using hashtag #ArchiveForOpenGov, and it will help you create your own archive of social media in less than 60 seconds. Thank you.